Aye, where the hell is my delivery rider? It's saying he left the restaurant ages ago. I just want my 6-inch Subway. Aye, that is mad long, bro. Like 6 times longer than the average man, I swear. Yeah. So anyway, I'm tracking him down. Ooh, finally, I've got my food, man. This. I'm getting us a pizza. A 12-inch pizza. Broski, that is 12 inches more than the usual. Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and you are watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What has been kicking off in the world this week? Well, here in the UK and in a devastating turn of events for 21-year-old girls in techno-smoking areas, and probably Phil Foden, the government have enforced an official ban on disposable vapes. Turns out smoking a 9-volt battery is actually bad for you. I don't know about this, man. Taking all these colours away during Pride Month. Jack Grealish has probably moved on to smoking crack. Meanwhile, Phil Foden will be left annoyed when Jack chucks his supply out of his Manchester window.
Fucking threw a vape at me. It was a fucking raspberry one or something. Fucking dosser.
This week there was the small matter of the biggest game in Europe, the Champions League final, or as Inter put it, optional. This was an opportunity for Paris Saint-Germain to take their first ever and France's second ever Champions League crown. Meanwhile, for Milan's finest, it was an opportunity to right the wrongs of the 2023 final. There was no time for rivalry in France, where Paris FC gave their city neighbours a good luck message. Sounds a bit tin pot, but a massive nation like France, only having one Champions League, this game was absolutely crucial for all of French football. There was superstition at play for Inter, where Francesco Acerbi decided he could rely on the boots that he scored against Barcelona with. He must have put lead in them in the weeks between. So it's important at this moment in the video to run an anti-bullying campaign. No football fan should ever be made to feel worthless, alone or afraid. We stand with all supporters who laugh at Inter. Yeah, look, I didn't say when we'd actually stop the bullying. PSG completed an assassination attempt on Serie A, lifting their first ever Champions League crown in a 5-0 catastrophically calamitous car crash for Inter.
He copied my whole fucking flow!
We gotta relegate them to the Europa League for this, surely. Genuinely, I'd rather lose to some Moldovan club run by a former bank fraud felon in the Conference League than go out sad like this. AC Milan supporters even held a funeral for their sworn enemies. It's a shithousery award for these Milan fans. It might have been a sweet result for AC Milan supporters, but none more so than this fan who paid his hard-earned money to go to the game to see Inter be defeated and sit amongst his ops. This isn't a hate watch, this is a despise watch. Inter manager Simone Inzaghi was quoted as saying that he'd studied PSG before kickoff. That exam paper was not looking good. The teacher had tech issues when he went to the lectures. He didn't even spell his name correctly on the front of the paper. He did at least get a chance to study Munich staircases by Bluetooth connecting his buttocks to them. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure Gianluigi Donnarumma had to pay his TV license like the rest of us. He was watching this game rather than playing in it. Now, Ashraf Hakimi scored the opening goal pretty early on in this one, and he decided not to celebrate against his former side. Now, I know that playing for Inter was kind of his breakout. There's a Champions League final.
Okay, it's killing the game, mate. It's not the same game it used to be.
Maybe he was just left devastated realising his mum actually had the rights to this Champions League trophy and not him. PSG's wing-backs would go on to have a great day, but for DiMarco of Inter, not quite as successful. Maybe he had too much of his bleach in his eyes. Simone Inzaghi would have ensured there was more bleach in his eyes at half-time after that performance.
I'm angry. I'm very angry.
Now, though, time for Desire Doué propaganda. This kid is the future. I swear on my life, I might actually be in love with him. He grabbed 2 goals and an assist in the final at the age of 19. Meanwhile, the only Desire for Inter fans was the Desire to throw themselves off their balconies. Honestly, Inter couldn't deal with any of PSG's forward line in this game. It was incredible to watch. Acerbi was looking pretty panicked as soon as Ousmane Dembele went forward. They got absolutely dominated, and for an Inter side whose average age was something like 42, or Henrik Mkhitaryan watching Desire Doué was like a Victorian child logging into Snapchat. Inter centre-back Jan Bissek came on to try and steady the ship. He came on and got injured straight away. Inter's best player, and he was only on the pitch for 6 minutes. Look, it's not Inter's fault, alright? They've got Marco Arnautovic on their bench in 2025. They're clearly not cut out for things like this, and they were also dominated in midfield. These lot were Vitinha's easiest opponents, and he's played against surely in the FA Cup. We were deprived of Lamine Yamal in a final for this. Of course, though, like anything in football history, an Arsenal supporters had to get involved, bringing up the fact that the Gunners had beaten PSG on XG and therefore would have won the Champions League.
You're hearing this, you man. This guy's too funny enough.
Kavicha Kvaratskhelia had clearly had a change of heart about his Champions League win upon hearing this news on the radio.
Oh, well, in that case, look, I'm not going to bother.
Forget XG, maybe expedite your number 5 out of the country. PSG were actually taking a piss in this game. They had regen scoring by the end. Hey boss, look, listen, yeah, I know I'm only 58 rated and the Champions League finals next year, but my mum is paid to go to the game, so I quite like. Meanwhile, if you're Inter, you're absolutely devastated. I mean, they've lost an entire treble here, trying to compete for the Coppa Italia, Serie A, and the Champions League, only to be left with frustration.
Checkmate. Checkmate. Checkmate.
Hey, yo. When's the second leg? Over on Twitter, and it was a pretty simple day, really, for Inter. Their tweets just being PSG goals. Their admin clocked off 5 minutes before full time, mate. And speaking of which, there was no additional time whatsoever. The referee saw the game get to 90 minutes and said to Inter, just go home to your families, mate. A Romanian referee, actually, which we love to see. Clearly inspired by a referee from a different continent. And that was it. One of the most comprehensive final wins in recent football history. A disaster for Inter, but delight for PSG.
It's history for Paris Saint-Germain, and finally they will get to hold the trophy that's become their holy grail.
Of course, the storyline here for Paris Saint-Germain, the fact that they've attempted and been unsuccessful in winning so many Champions Leagues in recent times. They were taken over by their Qatari owners so long ago, so many icons of football have come and gone, and yet despite all of that, Marquinhos is the only one left from the original clan that's actually won anything. It was a beautiful moment for his centre-back partner, William Pacho, the Ecuadorian who wears the number 51 on his shirt because that was the age at which his mum passed away. His mum, who he was very close to, it's a way for him to pay tribute to her at all times, and he was able to take that number 51 shirt to a Champions League trophy at such a young age. A similar story for João Neves, who was left emotional. His mum passed away recently, seen looking up to the heavens, going through such a difficult time, but now having reached the very pinnacle of his career so far. And of course, for Luis Enrique, this was the wrapping up of an incredibly emotional storyline for him too. Former Barcelona manager who won the treble with the Culé, it's well documented, obviously tragically lost his young daughter a number of years ago. It's something that he's carried with him all the way through the rest of his managerial career. It was an absolutely exceptional, beautiful and wholesome tifo set up by PSG supporters to commemorate her in a moment that I'm sure will mean an immeasurable amount to him and the rest of his family too. It's also just an incredible comeback story. You know, let's not get it twisted. Paris Saint-Germain have spent a lot of money over the last decade in order to try and achieve this. But of all the PSG starting 11s that you'd probably look at and think that's the one that's going to win the Champions League, this is not only the most youthful and exuberant and inexperienced, it's also just not the best. They've had the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, Lionel Messi have played for PSG and have never been able to take home a Champions League trophy. This is an extremely young, exciting, and also very likeable squad. Either way, PSG supporters were having fun creating 5-0 eclairs in local bakeries. I can't lie, this super team versus Tottenham in the Super Cup is going to get people done for war crimes.
That is a bad one.
Kylian Mbappe could be seen watching on TV at home after leaving these lot for Real Madrid, only for them to actually finally win the Champions League. As for Kavicha Kvaratskhelia, what a season for him. 4 trophies in total because he's eligible for a Serie A medal after Napoli won the Scudetto. Now, Ousmane Dembele could be seen doing PR, taking the Champions League trophy with him everywhere because he's realised he needs PR to win the Ballon d'Or. We're going to have to send Salah to Mecca or something with the Premier League trophy. Meanwhile, it would be kind of an awkward reunion, of course, for a couple of Frenchmen. Marcus Thuram and Ousmane Dembele arriving for French duty.
It's personal between me.
Marcus could be seen staring at Ousmane when he got his medals out to show the rest of the team. As for Kylian Mbappe, he was having PTSD flashbacks, remembering he's got less Champions Leagues than Jimmy Traore whilst everyone's scrapping in the background. For Simone Inzaghi, and the Inter chapter is over for him. He's now the manager of Al Hilal over in Saudi Arabia. He got himself out of debt immediately. Bro signed a contract at half-time. Now, elsewhere, it's been a busy week in the Premier League transfer-wise. Brian Mbeumo has decided to swap Brentford for Manchester United, and my thoughts are with him at this very difficult time. And of course, for a side in Manchester United, they've got a great record when it comes to African footballers. Odion Ighalo, Quinton Fortune, Eric Jemba, he's finished. The guy's done. Do United even need any more players that can play out wide / in that number 10 in Amorim's system? Brian's going to be left fuming when he realises he's actually playing in goal to replace Onana.
Oh, no.
If he still had a hairline, it would be gone by October with the stress that this football club's about to deal out to him. He'll be looking like Nuno Espirito Santo. As for Jim Ratcliffe, though, he's realising he's managed to lower the shampoo fund required for the club. He'll be on a one-man mission to form the most aerodynamic squad of all time. And for Manchester United, Matheus Cunha of Wolves has also signed for them. This one actually official at this point whilst I'm recording. How are they doing this after finishing 15th in the league? They've splashed £120 million, for fuck's sake. To be fair, for Matheus, anywhere will do outside of Wolverhampton. His final statement, not going to go down too well with Wolves supporters.
Yes! Knew I could do it. Get me out of this shithole.
I cannot wait for both of these two to somehow suddenly become incompetent after one sniff of Manchester air. United tweeted that the Olympic champion had an impressive CV. I would beg to differ based on Wikipedia. They put Olympic champion here like he's done the 100-metre backstroke. As for the Wolves supporters he's left behind, Cunha, the unfortunate face of June on their calendar this year. Poor Darren from Telford will be ripping that one up immediately. And another man who'll be playing at Manchester United next season seemingly is Bruno Fernandes. Contrary to popular belief, he's decided that he's going to stay at the club or certainly not go to Saudi Arabia. The club tweeting that they'd accepted a bid, basically, in essence, but that Bruno decided that he still wanted to play in Europe. Boasting about your captain almost leaving is an interesting tactic, I'm not gonna lie. This man rejected £210,000 a day to watch Rasmus Højlund blam balls over the bar. I really respect his loyalty, to be fair. Will Bruno stay at United though, or will he go somewhere else in Europe? Let me know down in the comments section. United continued their post-season journey across Asia where they found themselves in a compromising situation, being 1-0 down against Hong Kong.
You do seriously surprise me. Thank you, Cher. I was hoping you'd see that. You surprise me for how shit you are.
If they'd lost to Hong Kong, we gotta send them to the championship, fam. They had people like Bruno trying to do Rabona's 1v1. These lot didn't care about this game at all. Can't lie though, they might genuinely have to leave Rasmus Højlund over there. His team for next season's gonna be looking very different.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. It won't be long before you're playing point guard for the Guangdong Tigers.
United's players, though, clearly were worried about Ruben Amorim's mental health to some degree, so they did complete a comeback in the end. Chido Obi Martyn and Aiden Heaven scoring the goals here. United wouldn't have even been able to beat a small nation from Asia without Arsenal, but have now staked their claim on winning the defining Education Challenge Cup. You'll never sing that. A short hop away at the Etihad, and it looks like Jack Grealish's stint at Manchester City could well be over. He was left out of their Club World Cup squad. People think that it's deep, but in actuality, he was just too hungover to make the sign up for it. Now he's been getting some stick over on Instagram, and he decided the best course of action was direct aggression, bringing out his goal scoring stats in recent times for Manchester City, signing off with okie dokie love.
What made you go with that verse?
Oh, fucking hell. Someone's feeling a little bit fruity. He claimed that he'd got 3 goals in 45 minutes. And if we do the maths, that's a goal every half of football. Now, obviously, I feel bad for Jack to a degree. The guy was absolutely killing it at Aston Villa. He's gone to Man City. Kind of had his creativity and freedom crippled. I'd love to see him go somewhere else. Maybe to a different league, for example. And there are links that would see him going abroad. Only he'd actually need to learn other languages for that to happen. So I can't really envisage.
Where are you originally from?
Over at Liverpool, and the Reds are chasing Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Florian Wirtz, launching an official bid for the German midfielder. There had been some discourse about this deal, saying that it had been stalling over the fact that Florian wanted the number 10 shirt if he was to sign for Liverpool, a shirt number currently held by Alexis McAllister. He took to Instagram to say this absolutely was false, but interesting that he didn't clarify that he's not talking to Liverpool or anything. Although I'm not gonna lie, his next story definitely raised a few more eyebrows than that. He was also in action on international duty this week in the Nations League, where Germany faced off against Portugal. We had opposition fans hate watching Florian Wirtz already, and we ain't even signed him yet. He scored in this one, but did unfortunately lose, getting into an altercation with Manchester United midfielder Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, this guy's a fucking wassy. We got people calling him Florian Squirts, you know. You man are pissing me off. No amount of hate watchers or slander names could distract me from what was going on though. Liverpool fans were practically orgasming watching this display. And one fan even asked him whether he'd be excited to go to the Reds.
Excited for Liverpool, Florian?
Oh yeah! Shout out though to Cristiano Ronaldo, who aged 40 scored in this game. To still be scoring at international level at that age is beyond bewildering. And he helped his side to a first win for Portugal over Germany since 2000. The last time this happened, Sergio Conceição scored a hat-trick. This time it would be his son Francisco who would score the winning goal. Over in Spain, and Cole Palmer was spotted at the Formula 1 with McLaren. Watching vroom vroom cars for him, clearly a brain stimulant. Though I'm not gonna lie, his brain will have been firmly unstimulated after an F1 team boss said the word aerodynamics in front of him.
What?
Asking, is it faster than a Vauxhall Corsa and can I take it to Mackey's drive-thru, probably weren't what the team wanted to hear. For a lot of his England teammates involved as well, Morgan Rogers pictured here too. Thankfully for McLaren, no Marcus Rashford not involved in the England setup anymore, as he would have found a way to crash it about 6 laps in. There's official confirmation seemingly that Jadon Sancho will not be playing for Chelsea next season after the Blues exercised a £5 million fee for his obligated transfer after his loan to not go through. He's not going to be staying at United either. This poor guy's going to be posted on Insta and nobody wants him. These lot will sign everybody, by the way, but Chelsea drew the line at Sancho. It's actually crazy. And speaking of them signing everybody, they brought in Liam Delap. The former Man City man comes in from Ipswich after his relegation release clause of £30 million was activated. To be honest, he actually kind of looks like he runs his dad's accountancy business low-key or drinks a little bit too much at Ascot. So he's a perfect fit for Chelsea, and he can be seen, according to this Instagram comment, holding Arsenal's trophies for the season. At Sunderland, and Jobe Bellingham may have helped them earn promotion to the Premier League, but he won't be sticking around for long. That's because Bundesliga side Borussia Dortmund are bringing in the youngster. They thought they were re-signing Jude Bellingham, mate. Borussia Dortmund can be seen man-marking Mark Bellingham's testicles for the next 20 years here. Meanwhile, at West Ham United, and they're looking to bring in Aaron Ramsdale. The end of West Ham United in the Prem. Make sense of that. The money I'm going to earn from this when I bet on West Ham to go down is going to be criminal.
Yeah, we're playing this football because of money.
Now, over in Spain, and Lamine Yamal has confirmed that he absolutely categorically would never sign for Real Madrid. Feck, I bet they thought they had a chance with that one. His release clause is the GDP of South America. Even Real don't have those sort of facilities. Lamine was united with Dean Huijsen, Real Madrid's latest recruit in fairness, and the latest addition to Spain's national team setup. Dean was happy to be playing alongside Lamine, who replied with "my new favourite toy." Elsewhere at Barcelona though, and one supporter is looking to have his kid blessed by, of all people, Fermin Lopez. In Italy, and Inter, who of course are already struggling this week after the Champions League demolition, well, things got even worse for them, as they are currently being investigated for Asian fictitious sponsors that they used between 2016 and 2019 for fraudulent extra income. Barca fans will be asking for a rematch immediately.
Here to report the crime. Yep. An international war crime.
And I can't wait to see the new unassuming sponsor they've got on their kit for next campaign. At Lazio, and their president has done it again, getting a little bit sleepy during an important meeting. In the same age bracket is Luka Modric, who of course left Real Madrid this summer. He played his final game at the Bernabeu, an icon for Los Blancos, but he's still looking for a next move, and seemingly, according to the press, that next move is AC Milan in Serie A. I don't know how they're going to be able to afford his wages, but to be honest with you, he'll slap up that division. He's like 27 years old in Serie A years. In Germany, meanwhile, and Bayer Leverkusen decided to do their own version of Liverpool's Jeremy Frimpong announcement for fellow Dutchman Erik ten Hag. And in a 4th tier promotion playoff, Havelsa played off against Lok Leipzig, and there were a stupid amount of red cards. One absolute clamping, then a Lok Leipzig player getting a second yellow for scoring and taking his shirt off. That was 10 apiece. Then 2 more reds came later on for the side that lost. Actual genuine head loss, I'm not gonna lie. Now though, it is time for your goals of the week. We got some more unbelievable strikes for you. First of all, we head over to the Ethiopian Premier League of all places, where Zelalem Abate has won the ball back off his opponents. He's picked it up, realised the goalkeeper's a little bit off his line, and fam, we've seen this goal every week now. I'm almost starting to think that halfway line goals, like, they just shouldn't be included, but they are so impressive, and Zelalem's here is just as impressive as always. Next up though, we head over to Croatia, where Ivor Vajca has got a free kick, and I was about to say from a dangerous position. It's not dangerous. He's in a different postcode. Bro has smacked this from the car park right into the top corner. An unbelievable strike. But finally, we've got a life-defining goal, because we're heading down to Sunday League, and anytime you score a goal that is pushgas worthy in Sunday League or in amateur football, you just beg and you pray that you look over your shoulder and someone had their phone out. Thankfully for this guy, his bicycle kick definitely was filmed, and it's a good job because it is an otherworldly goal. Hello all, and welcome to the beautiful game the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes the beautiful game. Over in Brazil, and it's been a dramatic week for Neymar. Thankfully, it hasn't involved any of his family members or any kind of sex scandal. But his hand was on balls in a league game for Santos, as diving in to get himself on the score sheet, he cheekily went for the ball with his hand and punched it into the back of the net, hand of God style, hoping that none of the officials would see it. Turns out they did. He was on a yellow card already, and he got himself sent off. It might be over, guys. Like, it actually might be. And I'm sad to say that. We might have to wrap this one up now. And that's not what he's usually doing, to be fair, on a day-to-day basis. So, but don't worry, he was still getting handsy, this time with his opponent defender rather than anybody at the family barbecue. Elsewhere in Brazil, though, and Carlo Ancelotti, he's named his first squad as Brazil manager. Of course, he took over that role about a month ago. Unusually for Brazil, he's not a Brazilian manager taking control of their national team, and I don't think he's convinced that Gabriel Martinelli is a Brazilian footballer based on the way that he was looking at him this week. At Porto Alegre, and things were clearly getting cold, not only down on the touchline temperature-wise, but also with what this manager was wearing. Davison is a very interesting character that is very polarizing over in Brazil. I think personally he's very funny and entertaining. He decided that football may be more of a side hustle and that he was going to go into breakdancing or gymnastics at the Olympics. Don't give up the day job is what I would say to that. Meanwhile, down in the Brazilian 4th tier, and this brass band went viral over on Insta for turning up to games and playing appropriate songs when things happen, like the funeral march when a player gets injured. Or the Rocky theme tune for when there's an inevitable South American brawl. In Saudi Arabia, and Cristiano Ronaldo may well be headed to Al Hilal. Yeah, last week he confirmed that this chapter at Al Nassr would be over after winning a grand total of 0 trophies. Here we can see the Saudi Arabian government paying themselves to sign him. I'm not sure where this next clip is from, but we've got a supporter running onto the pitch here before kickoff in a hooded outfit and stealing the ball before the game could get underway. Well, that's what it looks like on the face of it. It turns out this is actually an ad campaign for anti-piracy. You wouldn't steal a ball. In Argentina, and shout out Platense, who won their first trophy ever. Yeah, they won their first league title ever by beating Huracan. And their fans, I mean, honestly, well, they meant a lot to the players during the trophy lift. Their supporters were going absolutely mental. Some of them even crying in the stream. I mean, you would, wouldn't you, realistically? You've won your first trophy, maybe ever. Only it's not going to do well for their bank balance, apparently, as they were given a typo for the check that they earned of minus $500,000. Yeah, they've been scammed, I'm not going to lie. In Australia, and this Melbourne Victory player was getting into beef with an opponent, only to clock that the guy hadn't used Colgate in about 3 weeks. In Turkey, and they love a flare, they love a firework when it comes to celebrating things, less so when it's directed directly into somebody's arsehole. But there was some shithousery of a different sense, though, coming elsewhere in the crowd at Galatasaray, as they brought a banner taking the piss out of Jose Mourinho, otherwise known as the Special One, with a banner that said the winner won. It's something that Galatasaray posted on their socials last week, but it's still a shithousery award, let's be real. At Seattle Sounders in MLS now, and they aren't too pleased with the innovation of the Club World Cup, a very divisive tournament that is going to have a lot of players, a lot of elite players working and playing for a month when they would usually be resting and getting ready for next season. It's also ultimately a massive cash grab from FIFA. It's a way of earning new revenues, squeezing more money out of players and clubs, and Seattle Sounders clearly can see right through that, wearing shirts out for their training session saying Club World cash grab. In Ireland, and shout out to Robbie Brady, who was announced as their player of the year this year, his winning speech was inspirational.
This is brilliant. I didn't expect to win it, so show some use while being a winner.
And some inspirational stuff actually for Cork amateur side Ringman Rangers. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Some of the letters and words in Irish are crazy. Quaveen Kelleher, of course, this week moved from Liverpool to Brentford. We bought Quaveen Kelleher very young, but he came from this Ringman Rangers, and they inserted a 20% sell-on clause into the deal when we brought him in as a youth player. And that means they're set to earn a windfall of €3 million, which is fucking massive for an amateur football club. So that's probably secured them and their status as a functioning team for a long, long time to come. Closer to home, and David Coote, the referee who was videoed taking Class A drugs and calling Jurgen Klopp a dickhead for want of not getting banned off of YouTube, was videoed this week and posted by journalists at the Daily Mail working as, well, a delivery worker. People were taking the piss out of it. Someone had clearly filmed him underhandedly and had sold it to the newspaper. And honestly, look, whilst I took the piss out of the David Coote situation at the time, because objectively it was a funny scenario, it wasn't funny that he lost his job at all. Ultimately, you make a mistake, you lose your job. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he was videoed saying that he didn't like Liverpool Football Club and doing Class A drugs. Like, you are gonna lose your job as a referee if that happens. But he doesn't deserve to lose his entire life over it, and ultimately, if he's trying to get himself back on his feet, going into a new job, whether it be as flashy as being in the world of football or not, he's providing for his family, and I think it's very, very distasteful for whoever filmed it and then whoever actually, you know, put it out as a piece of journalism as well. Let him live his life. David, do whatever you need to do, man. At Leeds now, and Red Bull Junior driver Arvid Lindblad from Formula 2 was tasked with racing against Leeds players on Ellen Road's pitch. Yeah, they decided to draft a Formula 1 car in and spin up the groundsman is having kittens in the background, by the way, because that pitch is never going to be the same again. At fellow newly promoted side Sunderland, they confirmed the signing of Enzo Lefebvre, who comes in from French football. Later on, though, it says that it's an undisclosed Faye. Undisclosed is a very weird middle name, I'm not going to lie to you. Well, shout out to Oldham and Southend, who played in the National League playoff final. Obviously, a very important game. Whoever wins makes it into the Football League. 52,000 fans were in attendance for a fifth-tier game, which is absolutely incredible. Oldham managed to score 2 goals in 90 seconds to earn themselves League 2 football. A crazy storyline, it's got to be said. And even more crazy, this man who's been kicking around in the National League for a while, Jefferson Lewis, the 46-year-old, finally retires from football, having played for a grand total of over 50 clubs. Yeah, his Wikipedia page is absolutely mental. He's not just a journeyman, this is an adventure man. Back in MLS football now, and San Jose were taking the piss out of LA Galaxy, saying you can't spell last place without LA. Yeah, that's a shithousery award. That's crazy. Unprovoked as well. You don't even need to be doing all of that. Welsh side Llantwit decided they were going to announce one of their new signings by travelling all the way to the Sahara Desert for it. If you're a side like that, how do you even get that decision across the line? Like, you've probably got about a £6.50 transfer budget. They often say that goalkeepers are insane. I just personally think they're excitable. Excitable to cause assassination attempts on strikers that are clean through on goal here, clearly. Border FC are a 7-a-side team that have featured quite a few times in FTW because of getting absolutely battered on the daily. But they actually, incredibly, won their first 7-a-side game this week and called to be included in FTW. So Border FC, congratulations. I look forward to your 27-1 defeat next week. Meanwhile, a big shout out to FC Sperry in Georgia, a club founded in 2017. They found themselves in the 2024 Georgian Cup final and defeated the Giants Dino Tbilisi. The crazy thing is, though, they're a second division side. They don't even play in the top flight of Georgian football. And that means that this season, they are going to be playing in the Conference League qualifiers anyway as a second division side, which barely ever happens. I'll be looking forward to them hopefully making it into the competition proper. Now that it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now, it's in a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. I'm not gonna lie to you, usually I give you a big old spiel before we get into a Still 0-0 clip. I can't really, I'll be honest, I don't really have anything for this one. It's just extraordinarily unlucky. We head to Germany, where one player is standing over a free kick. He's ready, he's composed, he's wanting to slap this right into the top corner, and he gets millimeters away from doing so. Luckily for him, his teammate is ready to come in and pounce, only to nod the ball back off the crossbar again. But never fear, okay, because their third teammate is surely going to put the ball into the back of the net. His two teammates might have hit the woodwork, but he absolutely is not going. He hit the crossbar as well. It might have even been like the exact same patch of the crossbar as the first guy, I'm not even going to lie. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, we head to St. Vincent and Grenadines, naturally, because that's exactly where this series always goes. And we head over to their league system, where there's been some wild results, I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple of slappings, but none more so than an 11-0 spanking that even Inter would feel a little bit bad about this week. 11-0 is pretty bad overall, but it gets even worse when you realize that the team that's been beaten here is called Awesome FC. Not sure Awesome Football Club is a way that we can describe them anymore. And finally, kind of a wholesome story actually, we're heading over to Al Hilal Omdurman. Now, Al Hilal, you may think, are a Saudi Arabian team. Well, I mean, they are, but there's also an Al Hilal that play in Sudan. Now, because of the civil war that's been been going on in Sudan and various other conflicts that have been going on in that sort of area of the globe, you can't play football over there, and their two biggest clubs have basically ended up playing in different leagues, being displaced and playing in other countries. In the case of Al Hilal Omdurman, they, as I think I told you this at the start of the season actually, they ended up going and playing in Mauritania, elsewhere in Africa. Well, Al Hilal are a pretty decent side, and they proved that by going out and winning the Mauritanian league this season. A side that's not even from the country have gone out and won the league. But again, a nice relief, a nice release, I guess, from all the troubles that have been going on at home for them. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter, Insta, and on TikTok. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.